Do you need cash? Do you want to consolidate debt? Premier Credit can help. They provide quick and confidential loans for any reason. Their service is same day, and most loans are approved within minutes. You can apply in person or by the phone. Their experienced and knowledgeable loan professionals will leave you feeling confident that your loan is being properly handled in a secure manner. Premier Credit can be reached at 225-667-8100, or you can email WeSayYes@premiercredit.com, or stop by and spin the wheel at 139 Del Norte Avenue in Denham Springs. They're open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and are a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. If you're in the market to purchase a home or sell your home, then Tricia Johnston of Ladder and Blum Realty can assist. With over a decade of experience in the area, Tricia's vast knowledge of real estate makes her the perfect realtor to represent you. For more information, Tricia can be reached at area code 225-754-2000 or via her website at triciajohnston.com. Tricia Johnston, building a strong foundation of trust, one home at a time. James Adam McCants, it has been a while since you and I have sat down.
With microphones in between us, yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
Otherwise, it'd be yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it has been a while since we've recorded our conversations. That may be good or bad. I don't know. But so how's life in SportNCenter world, the promo business? How's things going over there?
You know, for living in a time with very limited, if no football, and very limited, if no events, we're actually doing okay, man. I can't complain about anything. I know it could be a lot worse. As I say all the time, better than I deserve, for sure.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, football, it's coming back. I don't know if there's a firm date on when they're starting. I know at one point it was like the 16th or something was going to be the first game. Then they talked about the 9th was a possibility. But the good thing is it's coming back.
Absolutely.
And for folks like SportNCenter, you know, you rely on these sports, these year-round sports to come around. They help your business. And definitely not the only thing you do.
Yep.
You do promotional goods for businesses all over Livingston Parish and other areas. But it's a big part of it. And so y'all have done well adjusting from someone that buys a ton of promotional stuff from you, and I see it every day.
You can speak from experience. That's right.
I can speak from experience. So things have been going crazy. I was telling you before the show, we're not necessarily going to talk all about business today. You know, there's a lot of things going on just in the world in general, especially here in the South. We just had a hurricane hit.
Technically, 2.5. Really?
Yeah, that's true. Since last time we talked, we had 2 of them hit and a half. And so fortunate that one that just hit the Mobile area did not go where they thought it was going to go.
Definitely.
Let me tell you, I was talking to my wife about this the other day. There is absolutely no way we could have handled that type of storm here, at least here in Livingston Parish, from a water standpoint. I believe we would have been in it. Yeah. So our hearts go out to those people.
Absolutely.
We definitely know how it is. Of course, in 2016, when the one hit here, it wasn't a tropical, system. It was just a land storm that never moved.
Sure.
And so we definitely, our hearts go out to them. People in Lake Charles, they're still obviously rebuilding. They got a long road to hoe.
Yeah. I actually saw a post from a friend of mine who's out in that area just a little while ago and said after 21 days, they finally have electricity where he's at. So it looks like things are at least getting better and closer to being on the mend. But I know from what I've been hearing, it's unimaginable amounts of devastation in that area. Now, granted, it wasn't the huge storm surges that they were really afraid of, but the wind, talking miles and miles north off the coast, is just pure devastation. It's horrible. I hate to hear about it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And, talking about that you're right. It wasn't the storm surge, which what they were predicting was just insane. I think it was 20 something feet of storm surge or some crazy number. And for those people that may not be quite familiar with what storm surge is, it's just the raise in the water level so many feet. So it doesn't sound like, well, it does sound like a lot when you say 20 feet, but even a 5-foot storm surge, imagine the water level raising 5 feet and then coming in. That's huge. That's a lot. When they talk about storm surge in Lake Maurepas being 3 to 5 feet, some people's thought are that's not that big a deal. 35 feet, they think of a pool and they're standing in a pool. It's 3 feet deep. Right. That's not that bad. No, that's the raise in the normal water level, and then it's going in. So it's pushing an additional 3 to 5 feet of water wall into Lake Maurepas, which then drains out into all these other areas. And that's what causes, flooding in that area. And if it's a really high storm surge, can create problems even further down the Amy River. So, yeah, that was a nightmare. I've had some people go down there. I know recently, the Chamber of Commerce, the Livingston Young Professionals, I know Marissa Hofstetter played a big key in that, but they went and brought a bunch of stuff, goods and things like that these folks really desperately need. Sure. So, for those of you listeners out there that may be listening, if you want to help and you want to donate, just reach out. There's a lot of people doing this locally. When we had what we went through, I think a lot of people are looking at this as this is our opportunity to
give back. That's right. And it's not going to take very much research to find someone that you can piggyback along with to help contribute to, may it be efforts or, items or whatever it is, because just like you said, there's so many churches and entities and nonprofits that are in this area that are ready and willing to give back because of the inundation of support and love and grace and everything that we received back from 2016. So it wouldn't take a whole heck of a lot to find somebody to latch your wagon onto to help out with whatever you're doing.
Yeah, no doubt. And churches, you bring up a good point. Churches, a lot of those are very active with this. And I was glad to hear what you just said about the electricity. Look, it doesn't seem like that major a thing, but that's a huge step in the right direction just to get lights on. Imagine if you have a house, you have no electricity, you have, it's demolished for all intents and purposes. When you get that electricity, that's like, in your mind, that's like 50% of the battle.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember when I gutted my house, it was down to sticks and I got my sheetrock up. Now I had a million things I had to do from there. But when I had the sheetrock up, it was like I was 50% there. I felt like in my mind. So positive thoughts go a long way towards healing. And so something just as simple as the lights being turned back on to someone makes all the difference in the world.
Well, you got to think there's two sides to that as well. First of all, the comfort factor that they can actually turn their air conditioners back on, which we all too often take it, for granted, having air conditioning in South Louisiana, but to have that on. But then also the other side of that coin is, productivity level is going to skyrocket because you're not running off of generators anymore. You could actually plug things in and run more than a couple of tools at a time. And I mean, it's just a great thing. I'm really happy to hear it. And I'm hoping that, it wasn't just an isolated area of Lake Charles that's gotten it back, that hopefully it's widespread and they're, get more electricity to as many people as possible to really start making progress to getting back to normal.
Yeah, I agree. And it was interesting. Last week, I was actually going over one of our bridges here in Livingston Parish, and the interstate runs underneath. And I saw, it caught my attention because it was probably 20 the electrical vehicles with the ladders on the back.
The bucket trucks.
And it was going down the road, and they had 4 or 5 of them in a row. They had American flags, just blowing, and they were going east. They were going towards Mobile. Sure. And so right now, for whatever reason, I was thinking about this morning, our electrical folks, the people that work for Energy and Demco and all that, they're stretched pretty thin right now, because now you're kind of trying to help people in 2 different places. And even if you don't service that area typically, I'm sure these electrical conglomerates get together and they're like, man, do you have some people you can spare and send my way? And I'm sure everybody knows that one day they may need that favor repaid. Sure. So they're sending, people to wherever they're needed. That being said, obviously us as people, we need to be patient with these electrical companies as they work through this. Yeah. I would imagine that's like a 500% raise in your workload just right off the bat, if not more.
Absolutely.
We got that going on there, and then we had Mobile area get hit with this. That's kind of where the eye went over, is that particular area. But with this storm that just passed, and they dealt with a lot of water, kind of different. Their wind wasn't necessarily as bad, but the water got them, and 24 inches. The last time I looked, and McHugh probably knows the exact number, but the last time I looked, which was right when the eye had kind of passed over, they had already gotten 24 inches of rain in 6 hours. 6 hours. That's mind-boggling. Yeah.
The crazy thing about it, I've got some friends in that area and some work associates in that area as well. And throughout spring and summer, it's basically drought conditions over there because haven't been getting a lot of rain, and they just pray. And I'm sure that this is not how they wanted to receive irrigation. Yeah. But, right. It's crazy how that works, and here it is, 2 storms within 2 weeks. You've got one that is primarily wind driven. There was obviously some rain that was in there, but sure, primarily wind driven. You got another one, just a few miles down the coastline that winds really weren't that bad, but the amount of water that was dropped, it's just crazy. I mean, what year would you expect anything different?
Yeah.
than 2020?
And here we are, we're in South Louisiana. We're used to dealing with hurricanes. It blows other people's minds, but to us, it's almost like you go to the grocery store the day before, you buy some water, you buy some gasoline, and of course they advise you plan well ahead of that. But when you're used to these things, it's a little different. I don't remember, and they've had years where they've had several bad storms, but to have this much of an impact this close together, wow. It just blows my mind. And then I start thinking about the governmental side of it, and I'm like, man, FEMA's going to bankrupt. You think about all that money. These people are going to need help, just like we did, and so this is something that goes well beyond just a storm and a one person's thing. This is a federal issue now, and these storms just seem to keep getting more common. It seems like now. It used to be, James, when we were growing up, it seemed like you had one bad storm every 5 years. All the other ones were 75 mile an hour ones with a little bit of rain. You dealt with it for a few days, but a major, Katrina, you didn't see those every single year, hitting close to home. Now it seems like they're getting a little more close together. So I don't know what to think about that,
It kind of seems to really go in cycles, though, if you think about it, because in the mid-90s, you had Andrew and a couple of other storms that were right around in that time, and then everything laid low until, early 2000s when Lily hit, and then right after that, a couple of years was the year with Katrina and Rita that were similar in the fact that, back-to-back, in essence, storms, major storms at that. And then, we had, Ike in 2008 or something like that, and then it kind of laid low for a little while. It really kind of seems to be cyclical, But that's just me and my limited knowledge of meteorology and weather.
Yeah, we are far from meteorologists, if you did not know that already. But we definitely have opinions. And, speaking of Katrina, one of the things with Katrina was a storm that was, you hate to use the term beautiful for a hurricane, but from a perspective of what you would picture the ultimate, just awesome hurricane, that would be it. It was it was a buzzsaw, huge and just tight as a snare drum running through there. And
perfect storm, really, as far as hurricanes.
Absolutely. And those they used to seem like they were rare issues, and then now they come closer and closer to go. Some people say it's climate change, and we're all doomed. And I don't know. I mean, I don't have an opinion on any of that. I say work on the environment the best you can, and that's, if we all do that, maybe everything will get better. But I'm far from a scientist, and all this climate change stuff I don't even get into. But aside from that, those folks are obviously dealing with a lot now, and so if you still have some goods and you want to send some that way, I'm sure you can also do that as well. And we want to help everybody we can there. I just hope that's it. I hope that now we get into wintertime. It felt good today.
Yeah, it felt wonderful this morning coming outside for sure.
Yeah, it felt really nice. Supposed to be like that the next couple of days, and I don't think there's rain in the forecast for like 5 days, so that'll be a good thing. And maybe we won't, once those Gulf waters cool off a little bit,
won't have quite the concern that if something just does stumble into the Gulf, that hopefully it'll dissipate and go away for sure.
Triton HealthCare, located at 8128 Florida Boulevard in Denham Springs, offers a wide range of physical therapy services for a number of chronic and acute ailments. Whether it's sports injuries, injuries from accidents, or neurological disorders, Triton HealthCare can take care of it. They offer post-surgery rehab services, which is a specialized sports medicine program, and massage, as well as occupational and speech language therapies. So check out Triton HealthCare, who has been an active part of the Livingston Parish community since 1999 and are dedicated to providing the very best in rehabilitative care to all Livingston Parish residents. They can be reached at 225-791-8666, and they are a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. That's right. And where else would you figure two kind of salesmen here would know so much about meteorology? Goes to show you, you never know where you'll find that information.
One of the many services I offer.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Whether you need a logo or you need weather information, James Adam McCants is your man at SportNCenter. There's no doubt about it. So what else is going on? We do want to say our hearts go out to, and we're praying for Remy Hildago.
Absolutely.
Denham Springs High School football player, tall, scrappy kid that had some heat issues, and I don't know the correct term, so we'll say fell out at practice and had to be hospitalized. So we are thinking of and praying for that local kid at Denham Springs High School.
How about that candlelight visual they had last night at the field? Is that not amazing? And I mean, it wasn't just Denham Springs kids that were there either. It was kids from what I'm understanding, Live Oak, kids from Walker, all got together, showing the unity that we can have as a community, especially when it comes to something like that. What happened to that poor kid is horrible. And I don't think they've really come to a pure diagnosis yet of exactly what happened. But, for him to be affected like that, and, to go down at practice like that, and then from what I'm understanding, he's almost like in like a medically induced coma right now with some kind of treatment in New Orleans. And for everybody to come together and put the mascots aside and put the division of schools aside and realize, that kid, it could have been anybody. You're not talking about some unhealthy, kid that got locked out the house and suffered from some heat stroke. This is a guy that's in pretty physical peak condition. And that's just great that everybody came together like that to show support as a community. That really resonated with me, to say the least, when I saw that this morning.
Indeed, and me as well. Livingston Parish News did a great job covering that story, and that's where I read it at.
Same here.
But, I agree with you, and I think, James, that a lot of that is the fact that we're a community. And Livingston Parish folks, we all are, and we have our battles with each other and stuff like that from time to time, but that's with each other. But when we need to kind of stand together and for whatever it is, whether it's support someone who's in the hospital and you're praying for, or whether it's a flood and you're all getting together because we're all we've got, that's one thing about Livingston Parish we've kind of always done, and that's something to be proud of. And so yes, an absolutely beautiful thing. And like you say, these are schools. It's not just Denham High folks that were there. It was parish schools, and probably some from East Baton Rouge Parish.
If I had to guess, it probably wasn't exclusive to Livingston Parish schools alone.
Yeah,
Central was there. That's
Central's another one.
Yeah,
and
Zachary.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's just
phenomenal.
Talk loud.
McCants here, everybody. But yeah, so he just told us Zachary and Central, both people from there, also show their support. Wow, man, that's awesome.
Fantastic.
And Remy's mom just posted, and we're trying to get it circulated on our social media as well. They need B negative or AB negative blood.
B negative or AB negative blood is needed in donations for Remy Hildago. So
right, and I know this probably won't be coming out until tomorrow, which would be Friday, but they're going to.
Well, we're going to push it out today. If we need to get some donations out there, we want to make sure that people know that. So what we're going to do is at the end of this podcast, I'll make sure this goes out today, and I will notate at the top. I'll make mention of Remy and make mention of that to where people will see it and they'll know that it's current. So yeah, we're praying for him and we wish him nothing but the best. So,
absolutely.
Moving on to the next subject. SportNCenter's got some things going on, and we're going to get into that a little bit. But last time we talked about the great stuff y'all do with logos and we talked about how important it is for businesses, especially small businesses and local family-owned companies, to get their name out there via promotional goods. And look, I am the king of anything promotional good-wise, and if you don't believe me, ask James. I love to put my name on anything, and James loves it that I love it.
Absolutely.
So I thought I knew it all about promotional goods, and I walked in his store, and I see him a lot over there, and he says, "Man, you won't believe the machine we're about to get in. You're going to have to get 9 more jobs to pay for all the stuff you're going to want." And
no, you're going to make so much money off of the promotional products by blasting your message out there. You're not going to need another job. You're going to retire semi.
That's right. So I was intrigued, as I often get. And so he got his machine in, and I'm going to let him kind of explain to everybody what that is. But we're going to show you also some items and some capabilities that this machine has, which is almost limitless. It's almost your imagination.
It really is. It's limited by the time that we want to research into the materials that we mark and engrave on, as well as really more than anything limited by the creativity that we have.
Yeah. So tell us about it. Tell us how you got interested in even purchasing the machine, where you saw a need for it, and what it can do.
Well, it is actually a laser engraver, and it is a CO2. There's 2 different types of laser engravers. There's a CO2 laser engraver and there's a fiber laser engraver. Now, going into the science of explaining the difference between the two, I'm not going to do, but basically, simply stating, a CO2 is more for marking and cutting organic materials, whereas a fiber laser is more of marking and cutting metals. So we actually there are processes where we can mark on metal, usually coated metals, where we're actually erasing the coating off of areas to release the image. And there's also a couple of different products that we can add to bare metals that through the chemical reaction of the materials and the process of the laser going through it marks the metal. It doesn't actually dig into or engrave into the metal, but it marks on top of it, creating a chemical bond that, again, shows the image. We have the CO2, and just like Jeremy that you had on the podcast here recently, last week,
last week.
He has a fiber laser, because what he's doing is more along the lines of metal for guns and things like that, and jewelry. We took a different approach because, first of all, we're 2 blocks away, and by no means do we want to start any kind of, war or anything like that. But on
a laser war.
A laser war. Wow. How you like that, huh? But also, our needs are a little bit different, where the majority of the things that we sell are of organic nature, like paper, materials like clothing materials, things like that. So it actually has worked out really well, because where one of our strengths, if someone brings something into our shop and it's not something we can do, then we have an automatic referral to send him around the corner to Jeremy, and he reciprocates with that as well. Of course, we've had a great relationship with him.
Yeah, y'all work together.
Absolutely. We work together very well. I've known Jeremy for a long time, and he's a great guy. But the things that our industry is much more on the organic side. You're talking cloth materials, you're talking paper, wood, things like that. So it made sense for us to go with the CO2. I saw the first machine actually in action, so to speak, at a trade show in Dallas about 5-6 years ago. And of the 400 something booths that were in there, I probably spent more time at that booth just watching and kind of absorbing what all could be possible with us if we had one of those machines. And it wasn't just that I was gravitated towards that booth. Actually, about 2 or 3 years earlier, we had an ad placed through a local company that generated its own number. So when someone was looking up a particular, where to buy footballs local, where to buy this local, our name would come up, and it would be through that numbers. So that way they could gather some data as far as what was working. Sure. And the number one thing that was searched for was laser engraving of personal items, because apparently at that time there really wasn't anybody around here who had a laser engraver. So that kind of always rattled around in my head as far as maybe that would be the next thing that we would enhance our production there at SportNCenter. Because, we already do in-house screen printing. We do in-house monogramming. We have a sign shop where we do various like banners, corrugated signs, decals, all kind of stuff. Well, that kind of seemed to me like that would be the next step in adding a production type to our arsenal, if you will, at SportNCenter. Excuse me. So fast forward a couple of years, we really kind of start looking at it and really start making some serious, not necessarily serious decisions, but start gathering some serious questions as far as, okay, what are we looking for? What do we need? So we found this machine. Took us about 6 months, 8 months to pull the trigger on it. We decided we were going to purchase it, make it our last big purchase for 2019. Well, it was about 6 to 8 weeks out, because as you order the machine, they manufacture it. Well, we ordered it. They started the production on it the first week of January. Ended up, there was a couple of pieces that were back ordered. They were waiting to come in, that delayed it about 3-4 weeks. And sure enough, before you know it, it was lockdown time. So we should have had our machine in mid-February, but it wasn't slated to ship until mid-March, and we all know what happened there.
Right.
So where it ships from in Michigan, they actually went into the lockdown phase, the quarantine, or whatever you want to consider it, about a week or two before we did.
Yeah.
So here we are. This would have been actually the absolutely perfect time to have a new piece of equipment in and learn how to use it, when basically everything was shut down and we couldn't get it. Yeah. So
that would have been too lucky, James. I mean, that would have been just too easy and too perfect for, at least for my experience when I go through things. It's Murphy's Law with that stuff. And now I would imagine you had some call for this stuff over the years that kind of planted that seed where you were like, man, we really need to get something in-house, because that's one thing I want to push. And if hopefully everybody that's watching this podcast is quite familiar with it. And at the end of every episode, I hold up the cup that SportNCenter is nice enough to donate to our, whoever we have on the show, that guest. And I show that it has the beautiful Local Leaders logo.
That's right.
And that machine is actually what makes that cup logo. It cuts it in there, and I've seen this done. And it's not like the end of this pen to where it's jabbing it or whatever. There's a word for that and I can't think of it, but it's an actual laser. It's heating up and literally cutting that design. So it's very interesting to watch as well. Stephanie Berthelot and the crew at SR Enterprise can handle it all, from sheetrock to texture to paint. Give Stephanie a call at 504-432-9284. SR Enterprise, where they spread the paint and you spread the word. But there had to be, I would imagine, a lot of cases where people were coming in wanting this kind of done in-house, or they were just requesting things that once you maybe priced it after in the aftermarket world, it may, I don't know if there's a price competition problem there when you get into having to buy it and resell it versus bringing it in and making it convenient, or is it just a speed factor?
Well, I would have to say probably the component that drove us more to get the machine than anything else is minimum order quantities. You can order. There's 1,000 different distributors that I can order pieces from, say like for a realtor that wants to do a leatherette wine caddy. Well, that's great. And you can get them for a really good price, except for most of the companies that you order these things from, the minimum order quantity is like 50 or 150. Now, you'd have to be a realtor on fire to run through 150 wine totes within any reasonable amount of time. We can do these one at a time. That's the beauty of it. And it also helps them to kind of say, for example, realtors or anyone who has rather large sales where they don't happen necessarily all too quick, frequency is one a week, 3 a month, whatever. You can diversify what you're giving them. So if you know this client, you've worked with them, and you kind of have an idea of what their tastes are. Maybe they're not into wine. Maybe they are a liquor drinker. Maybe they don't drink at all. Maybe they love to cook. We've got a catalog that you can go through, and there's various different things that they can pick out that they can get specifically for a person that is going to fit their likes or their tastes. Slap the logo on it. There's nothing better than a promotional project that has function. There's nothing better than giving something to someone that they're going to use. And that's the name of the game, is you want that product being used. You want that product being appreciated. You want that product being shown. Look what I got. Look at this beautiful Louisiana shaped, cutting board or whatever. And then what's the first thing they're going to look at? Boom, your logo right there.
I agree 100%. And that's, in the promotional industry. And if you're a business owner and you're wanting to promote yourself, the absolute worst thing you can do is get a common thing that people are going to throw in the trash. And because they're basically throwing however much it costs you to make that in the trash. Right. So uniqueness goes a long way. People remember unique promotional gifts. So in that respect, that's really what you give them, is the ability to get as unique as they want and still put their logo on something. Now, what if someone has something already and they're curious if you can put their logo on it? Do you offer that service?
Well, I tell you, we've been engraving now, I'd say since the middle of May, because there was definitely a learning curve as far as learning the machine and learn how it operates and so on and so forth. And I'd have to say probably about 25 to 30% of the items that we have done have been items that have been brought to us. We're getting quicker at turning items away that we're not really sure how it will turn out, because I'd rather tell somebody no than have to call them and say, so I totally jacked up this thing of yours. Is there another way that we can buy it? Is there a way that we can buy you another one, or, so on and so forth. So we're really kind of limiting or working on limiting the things that are brought into the things that we're 100% confident in. The laser is going to produce a quality finished product. But there are a lot of people bring things in, and it really gets scary there too, because a lot of things they bring in are of sentimental value more than dollar value, right? Which, I would hate to mess up something that, and we have gone into it before and let them know, hey, look, we're at the end of the day, we're talking about a machine that's in the back. Now, if I misspell your name, that's my fault. But if this joker goes jagged on us and something happens that's completely beyond our control, you have to realize that going in. And no one has turned it down yet. So.
Right. And that's probably not a hugely common thing. I mean, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get it right. But you're right. I mean, if it's something sentimental going in, people that have sentimental items just know that, talk to James, talk to the people over there, and I'm sure they can tell you kind of the percentage of it going the way you want it to go.
Hey, that's not exclusive to just that form of production either. We have the same issue from time to time with the embroidery machine. Somebody brings in a jacket of their own or brings in a baby blanket or something and wants something embroidered. 9 times out of 10, maybe even 95 times out of 100, no issues whatsoever. But there's still you're still dealing with a machine.
Sure. That's right. So, that's why you get a warranty on a new car.
That's right.
I bought a car one time. The guy was pushing that warranty. Now I knew, those warranties where they make their money sometimes. And I'm like, man, this is a brand new car. What is it? A junky car? You're trying to push me on this warranty? He said, hey man, it's a machine. They break. And it's a good point. So, I mean, things happen, in other words, but
you didn't spring for the underspray too.
Yeah, no, I did not get but I have a great story I'll tell one day about that. It's funny. We'll save that for another time. So you brought some things with you, and these are some really cool things that y'all use as, I guess, examples to show people, just kind of spark your imagination a little bit. But before we get to that, just kind of tell me, so I know you can do wood. I know you can do metal. Kind of go through the majority of things that you can do with that. Or maybe it'd be easier to say what you can't do. Is there anything you cannot do with it?
We can't mark directly into metal.
Okay.
We can, like I was saying, there are products that you can spray on it that you can mark on the metal, and it creates a chemical bond. So it's not just like painting on top of it. It's you wouldn't really know the difference if it didn't tell you, truth be told.
Sure.
Now, with that being said, we've learned from experience, we can also not engrave on chrome Zippo lighters. So, I mean, it's not exclusive to Zippo themselves, but polished chrome, not even the additive or the product that we use to spray will do anything. We did one, I guess it was about 2-3 weeks ago, and it was beautiful. And I'm, getting all the fingerprints off and everything, and along with the fingerprint went the image. I'm like, what the? And I mean, it was just shiny as can be. Yeah. So the machine that we bought it from, they have a great support system or a great support staff, and they also have a very active Facebook community that we're members of the group. So I posted on the Facebook page, oh, does anybody know what's going on? They're like, nope, dude, can't do polished chrome. There is nothing that you can spray on there to do polished chrome. So that's 2 of the things right there. One thing that's really great about our machine, and this is why we actually chose the machine that we went with, they have a patent on open architecture. So there is no true bottom. So even though the engraving bed that we have is 12 inches by 18 inches, and the machine is naturally 6-8 inches deep. You can move the work table from away from the engraver, and anything that you can put the laser on, you can either put it underneath the laser, or you can actually pick up the laser and do on-site engraving. And
wow.
So it doesn't, there are other engravers out there, in fact, the majority of them, where not only are you limited to the size of the engraving bed, but also the depth of the engraving bed, which is really cool because we've done some things that were way oversized. It should never fit inside the machine, but being open architecture like that, we were able to slide it underneath and do the engraving that we were doing.
So tons of options there, and that's a great thing. So you did bring some things. We'll get to those now. So show me some of the awesomeness you got.
This is one that we have, all of us sales staff at SportNCenter have one of these sitting on their desk. It's a business card holder.
I like this. Yeah. I'm gonna hold it while you talk about it.
That's a leatherette item, which comes in about 12, 14 different colors, actually. So that's a wonderful job there, Van. I mean, Jim. Actually, it's more like a QVC. You just gotta keep smiling. Oh yes, yes.
Oh, this is lovely. Just feel the texture.
Yeah. So there's anything from your traditional, like that's a dark leather right there, or there's a rawhide, which like this wallet right here is a rawhide color, to non-traditionals like aqua and navy and black, and it's really cool. That's a nice little wallet there.
Yeah, that's great gift idea for some corporations that want to give out corporate gifts, even to your employees or
family
to your
members,
good customers, family members. Yeah, that'd be a great thing.
Father's Day, graduations. You can get the trifold wallets, bifold wallets, checkbooks, which is a great graduation gift. That's typically whenever someone's graduating high school, that's when they're really kind of kicking off their adult life. So if they don't already have a checking account, I'm sure that's something that's going to be coming right behind. But it's just, it's kind of indicative of that age,
Very good point. Graduation, coming up. I mean, it seemed it's still a little bit off, but with COVID, I mean, we kind of lose track of time.
Indeed we have. And Christmas. I mean, come on. Yeah, Christmas present. That's another thing. I hear all the time, and I say it myself, just like my dad, hardest person on earth to buy for, because he's got just about everything he wants, and all of a sudden when he finds out something new he wants, he goes and buys it before I know anything about it.
Sure.
Everybody has those people in their life, Yeah. You're able to really give a unique, customizable gift to someone and not have to worry about, do they already have one of these? There's probably... It's a really good chance they don't have whatever it is that you're picking from.
Right.
Here's a nice little leatherette wrapped flask.
I'm more of a whiskey man.
Yeah, a little homage to Ron Swanson there.
There you go. I knew McHugh would like that one. Yeah, this is a pretty awesome, and wouldn't recommend that for graduation from high school.
Probably not.
Maybe college though. That'd be a good, LSU limited capacity, but they are going to have some football games this year, and
we are by no means endorsing sneaking alcohol into Tiger Stadium.
That's right, but if you've done that sort of thing,
and the thing about it is perceived value when it comes down to this stuff, because you look at this and you think, oh wow, this flask, you probably think $60, $80 you would pay for something like this. Not even close.
$69.90.
$58.95 if you act now. It's about half that price. I mean, I don't have the price list in front of me, but if memory serves me correct, I think this joker is like $24.
Can't beat it.
You really can't.
Cannot beat it.
And that's personalized for that price. So you're not buying the flask and then having a personalized. He can get you a flat, $24, $25. It's in your hands. What a great gift, inexpensive, and makes for great stocking stuffers, college graduation gifts. There's all kinds of things you can do with that. What else you got there? Now this is cool.
This pulls at a whole different thread as far as a market or a group to market towards. is wedding parties. Now, we have actually done really well with these. You know, you've got the wedding day preparation stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a lot more, obviously, with the bridesmaids and the bridal crew than the groomsmen. But when you're talking bridesmaids, it's gotten to where now you give them all shirts, you know, oversized full button shirts with their name or their initials embroidered on them, so they can wear while they're getting their hair done and getting their makeup done, and a handful of other things. Well, what better way to hand them their shirt than something to commemorate the occasion of the wedding date, which really nice wooden hangers. Put any kind of image you want onto there, any kind of text, whatever the message
you can do
may
initials,
be.
maybe.
That's right. And this is also a great item for. We have a lot of higher scale clients that order nicer shirts,
like me,
like you, Jeff. So if I'm going to do a presentation, I can get a half dozen of these, and I can put their company logo on this when I'm going to hand them samples. Just like people love to see their name on stuff. I mean, they're automatically in a better mood when they see their logo hanging on this sample shirt, and it's it's all about.
LeAnn's Flooring by Design, conveniently located on Florida Boulevard in Denham Springs. LeAnn can service all of your flooring needs. Give them a call for an appointment at 523-7004. At LeAnn's Flooring by Design, they stand behind everything you walk on.
Sizzle, really.
I'll give you even another idea for this, and for the listeners out there. If you own like a boutique,
absolutely,
man, you just got your own fancy hangers here at your boutique. And I know there's some in the Antique Village. You need to get in touch with your Antique Village neighbor, SportNCenter, and he can hook it up to where you have your own personalized hangers. And so any boutiques, places like that, also a great idea, but awesome for weddings too. I wouldn't have thought about that till you said it, but great deal.
Got some other office items that are really nice.
My favorite.
Personally, that's right. Local Leaders mouse pad there. Nobody throws away mouse pads. I don't even hardly use a mouse pad. I use the
little square on your laptop.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yep. That's what I use. But I'll tell you what, I've got one in my drawer that I've probably had in there for 3 years. I don't throw it away. Nobody throws these away. And every time I open it up, it is not personalized. It's just blue. So, but really cool. Great gift. What do these run typically? And I'm putting you on the spot. We didn't.
$15, I want to say.
Yeah, there you go. $15, and
it's got the nice little ergonomic pad right there on it. I mean, you're not
carpal tunnel. Go away.
Go away. That's right. All out of here.
No carpal tunnel. We don't want that. Yeah.
And some other great little items. Little keychain here. That's
cool.
Engravable. And
is that you in 1990?
That is not. That is an artist rendering of Kurt Cobain. But yeah,
that was going to be my second guess. Awesome keychain though, and that's something I do want to. Hopefully, I can get all this working. But and I'm going to take pictures of all these before I leave, and I'm going to put them to where they just pop up. I just remembered I could do that. So, but that's an awesome keychain idea. Also a bottle opener.
Yeah.
So you don't have to just do words. You can do images, obviously, like you did with my logo, and you did with Kurt Cobain as well. So that's cool.
It's got a couple more things I want to show you here real quick. Yeah. This falls in line with the kitchenware. It's just a little a sample cutting board, which I guess you could use that for, like maybe a cheese tray or something like that. And they come in various sizes. That's actually bamboo, which that's a huge eco push, is using bamboo as opposed to your other hardwoods. But really nice item. Comes in various sizes, comes in various shapes. You can actually get state shapes, and great for anybody who maybe likes to entertain or enjoys cooking or both. Absolutely.
That's right. I like to do both. Yeah. So this is a great, and remember, don't get locked in it. This is awesome, but he can do LSU. He can do SportNCenter. He can do Local Leaders.
Logos.
Whatever you want.
They make great wedding gifts. They make great anniversary gifts. You put the couple's name, the date of union, so on and so forth. again, it goes to just when you want to stop thinking about it, that's when it stops, because creativity and
imagination,
off the wall.
basically.
Yeah, imagination.
Whatever you can imagine.
And here we are with that wine tote deal. You know, I've had multiple people reach out to me and want to get something like that, but it didn't go for it because they didn't need 150 of them. They needed 4. You know, and now granted, you're not going to get them at that 150 piece price, but it's still a fraction of what you would pay for the grand total, considering you only need 4.
Yeah, or 4 in this case. Yeah, you don't want to buy 150. It would take you forever. Unless you're Tricia Johnston. I hear you can sell pretty fast. But these are really neat, unique items that almost anybody, you know, anybody can give away and take. So it's got a little deal scribed on the front of it there. And now I do have a question about these. What if I had, like, if it was a gift to my, I don't know, James, I can't give you a scenario, but if I had a picture and I said, can you, kind of like you did there with Kurt Cobain, can you put this image onto this? Would that be possible or not?
Absolutely. That is one of the last steps as far as learning the functionality of the laser engraver, is us working out all the tweaks as far as being able to laser engrave a picture or a picture image. We have had, to some degrees, varying degrees of success, been able to do it. We took Tiffany that works at the store. Oh, yeah. We took a picture of hers from their wedding date and were able to put it on a slab of wood, and it looks really great. Consistency still isn't there as far as, you know, different jobs that we've tried just yet, sure, but we're working on it. And now that we're, you know, back to school is over and football season is starting to, even though it hasn't really wound up as far as playing games goes, it's getting close to where we're pretty much done with our portion of it. You know, we'll have some more time, and we're really going to dedicate it because we really want to step into October being the mark of the fourth quarter, knowing how to do it, because that's going to be something else that I think we're going to be really successful with.
I agree. And what a better place to promote it than right here on Local Leaders, the podcast. Absolutely. I mean, I can't think of a better springboard for your launch. But that being said, now what about glass? Can you do like picture glass awards? You know, you can.
Yes, sir. I've got a project going right now where I'm doing it's acrylic, not glass. Yeah,
same thing. Yeah, you never know.
We're doing some engraving on acrylic. We also have the capabilities of cutting acrylic, which is another really cool thing. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I'm working with a good friend of mine that owns a lighting company that's getting me some LED lights to where we'll be able to do lit edge acrylic, which is something that's really cool. So, you know.
Is it a local lighting company?
Absolutely it is. Okay. Right here in Denham Springs. One might say so close you could reach out and touch it.
And yes, you can. So fantastic. Yeah, because that, you know, and that's really where it's at right now, is a lot of these acrylic signs are being backlit, and it really sets that sign apart, even on the interior. I really like them on the interior. So you have the acrylic sign, it's hanging up. It says Local Leaders of the Podcast. I can picture it already. It's got, my company colors going on this side and this side, and it just lights up, and you walk in the room and boom, there it is. It makes an impression. The interesting thing about acrylic is it does look like glass. Yep. And it really gives it classes up the whatever it is you're doing. So the fact that you can cut it to shape and the fact that you can engrave on it makes that very appealing to a lot of people around here. So there's a lot of businesses here that they're not used to kind of having this service locally. You know, they're having to either go online and get something custom made there. Then when you get it in, it's, you know, sometimes it's what you wanted. Sometimes it's nothing like what you thought it would be. You can go up to SportNCenter and see anybody up there, including you, and you can see these examples we showed you, plus many more up there. But you can also have a little meeting with them and discuss what's possible, especially for these bigger companies that give out, major amounts of corporate gifts at the end of the year, or maybe during the year, or, customer gifts, that sort of thing. So really awesome. And I want to put kind of like the explanation point on this by saying this is a hard service to find really anywhere around here, much less locally. You kind of have the best of both worlds. You're buying local, you're keeping your money here in Livingston Parish, but in addition to all of that, you actually have something you can look at, see, touch, feel before you kind of pull the trigger and get it. And to me, that makes all the difference in the world. I love it that you're only limited to kind of what your imagination can come up with on these items. Very, very excited that you got this machine. I see nothing but good things. How's it been going so far? Is it, considering the fact that you haven't maybe promoted it hard yet, how has it been?
This is actually, speaking of springboards, this is the springboard into us marketing the fact that we've got it. Everything has really been word of mouth. B&I, using it as my sales manager moment, knowing friends of mine who would be interested in something like this, reaching out to them, and then people just walking in off the street. But this is the first time that we've really marketed it outside of word of mouth or referral. Next we're planning on taking out an ad in the Livingston Parish News. We're going to be putting some things in there between the obits because of the what they call the memorial factor. Mm-hmm. There's so many different things that we can do to anything from miniature urns to plaques and plates that you could do around the house. We're going to kind of toggle it back and forth between the obits and then just the meat of the paper, targeting other groups and other demographics other than just memorial. So this is the first mass marketing of it, and we're hoping to really kind of gain some traction for, like I said, the fourth quarter. You got a lot of things going on. You've got Thanksgiving, you've got Christmas, you've got budgets wrapping up for the year for businesses. We just see it as an opportunity to really execute and get out there and really push what we can do with this machine.
I think that you're going to have nothing but success with it, and exciting in the fact that, look, we've got a lighting company starting up here. I talked to McHugh David a few weeks ago. So he discussed his lighting manufacturing company that is going to be here, or is actually already kicked off here in Denham Springs. You have, James Adam McCants at SportNCenter, and he's, they're manufacturing all these things now as far as, well, not manufacturing the actual, mouse pads, but they're putting all the decorating. Thank you on those items, and that's all being done in house. So the time frame actually shrinks. Absolutely. Because you don't have to wait for it to come in order to do it. So the time frame, big factor for impatient people like yours truly. It can never be fast enough for me. Trust me. Yeah, just what you were saying, I'm totally unreasonable.
I'm really excited about us partnering with Southern Light Solutions with McHugh, because there are so many different things, not only with just laser engraving, but also through the signs that we make and other promotional products that would be fantastic having a good, reliable source for LED lighting that's also going to be economical as well. So
locally,
right,
the best part, what this whole podcast is based off of. These are all of us helping each other, and that's what we want to do. One of us succeeds, all of us succeed, and if we all have that attitude, there's really no limit to economically what Livingston Parish can become.
Absolutely.
SportNCenter in Denham Springs is your one-stop shop for team sports equipment, school uniforms, and promotional goods. Conveniently located next to the Antique Village since 1977. SportNCenter, your business means everything to them because your name rides on everything they do. And it is something that obviously we're all passionate about, but I'm very excited about the backlit acrylic.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I would love to be the guinea pig on that. Just throwing that out there right now. So thank you for bringing all of this by today. I really appreciate it. We always have a good time when we sit down and talk. And what I want you to do, you'll come back soon. Maybe a good time to be right before Christmas or something like that, right before Black Friday. And maybe James will come up with some sort of Black Friday discount or something where, hey, you come in here on Black Friday and, you get 15% off or something. I don't know. I mean, pick a number. 100% off. Free. It's all free.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can talk into that.
It'll be free the Sunday after Black Friday.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. So thank you very much for coming by. I want to thank McHugh David. He engineers this podcast and he keeps the little bit of hair I've got on my head left, which it is actually non-existent. But if I don't shave for a couple of days, I get it. I get the bozo thing.
I'm not seeing anything.
Trust me, on the sides, it's like bozo. It's crazy.
I can relate. I can relate.
Definitely want to thank you, James, Adam McCants, for coming by today. The Livingston Parish News for the space, and all you listeners and viewers for your support. Please follow me on all my social media, and thank you so much. We have actually hit, James, 700 subscribers on YouTube. That's fantastic. Only a month and a half ago, it was less than 100. I don't know why I deserve to have that many people following me, but I will absolutely take it, and I thank you so very much. I would like to thank my sponsors for this show, of which SportNCenter is one.
Yes, sir.
I could not do this without all of my sponsors. I thank you very much. If you're interested in sponsoring Local Leaders of Podcast, you can reach out to me, via the phone, or you can email me at jim@paintpodcast.com. If you're interested in getting our newsletter, I do a newsletter called The Weekly Leader. Just kind of highlights the guest I've had on for that particular week, gives you great information on leadership. All you got to do to sign up is go to paintpodcast.com and click sign up for the newsletter, or reach out to me and I can get you that information. Keep an eye out for my next guest, as Ray Bajoram with Premier Credit is going to be in here. We're going to be talking about this long-standing finance company right here in Denham Springs, and their history within the community. Very interesting story there. And until next time, I am Jim Chapman, reminding you to love your community,